There is light at the end of the tunnel and asset prices should be higher. Well, that's the view, at the very least, of famed economist Nouriel Roubini. That said, though, speaking to CNBC earlier today, he renewed his warnings that a, quote, mother of all carry trades will end in the pricking of a massive asset bubble that is now building up around the world. Dr. Roubini believes the G20 finance ministers meeting in Scotland this weekend are also concerned.
The asset bubble is going to be front center of their own debates. It's not just Roubini's worrying about it. Globally, people are starting to worry about it because it's getting out of control. That's the reality of it.
Dr. Hal Raveche is the president of the Stevens Institute of Technology. He joins us this evening. Does this need to be top of the G20 agenda, or do they have bigger fish to fry?
I think they have much bigger fish to fry. When President Obama selected Pittsburgh as the site of the meeting in the U.S., he said it was a perfect example of innovation giving birth to an old city, a city whose industrial base had decayed. So what's missing from the G20 topic is innovation. All the major problems of the world, healthcare, sustainable energy, we just saw a piece on wind turbines, water supplies for the world. If you look at transportation infrastructure, innovation will benefit all those areas. And let's remember the definition of innovation. It's not just doing something new, it's extracting the value. Right.
How do we get innovation to... innovation has been something that places like Silicon Valley have been very good at generating. What is the model? How do you actually replicate the areas where innovation has been coming out of and roll that out around the world? Is there a magic formula?
There's no magic formula, but it's a great question. It's a mindset. Right? When you go to Silicon Valley, you can feel it. It's in the drinking water. The leaders of the G20 nations have to create, that's leadership, create that mindset. So look at healthcare, for example. It's a political battle in the U.S. Well, let's look at innovation, how it might apply. One, cost of healthcare. Experts say that business process software will lower the cost of healthcare from 5 to 8, 10%. In the U.S., staph infection is a leading cause of death. It's unacceptable in a leading technological country. Clearly, we need innovation, right? So now we just saw a piece on wind turbines. Yeah. What about tidal turbines? In China, what about creating synthetic gas from waste biomass? Not the food, from waste biomass. All of the areas of the world, energy, reducing the carbon footprint, water, healthcare, will benefit from a major dose of innovation.
Simon, though, there's an old joke about a conservative church which assigns someone to be responsible for spontaneous singing. I mean, can you create innovation, or does it just really develop in and of itself? Can you actually make it happen?
You can't make it happen, but you can make sure that when it comes to market, it is properly valued. And once you find, one of the things that capital markets did quite well was actually facilitate the innovation in the US by actually monetizing it very early, possibly too early actually in the commercial lives of some of these products, but that's actually what I would like to see happening again. I think we've got it in wind turbines. If tidal turbines are going to work, then bring it to market. I'll back it. Certainly if your cost structure we were talking about off air is right, I'll definitely back it.
But here's a recipe, all right? There's no formula, but here's a way to start it. The leaders of the world announced in their countries that they're going to tap the innovative potential of their universities. They're going to create incentives, they're going to create support, and that will go a long way. Cambridge, Oxford, in the U.S., all the research universities. Obama gets on TV and says, we're calling for national mandate in innovation.
We will go to the moon. That kind of a speech needs to almost happen, because the question that always dogs the story here in Europe is the fear of failure. You go to Silicon Valley and you talk to people. The most successful guys have been the biggest failures.
Yeah, but that introduces another element, the professional entrepreneur. Not the VC entrepreneur, but the entrepreneur that goes into a big organization, like a government, like a university, and creates change. That person manages risk, and they're not afraid of failure. If we're afraid of failure, we're nowhere.
Think we are afraid of failure?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Overly regulated? Absolutely afraid of failure. What American CEO is going to go out on a limb now? Do you notice now, though, Jeff Immelt, head of GE, saying, we made a mistake, time out. We're bringing manufacturing back at home. Can't be done without innovation. Can't be done.
Some pretty big mistakes have been made over the last few years by a number of big firms making changes. Obviously, it's got to be part of the culture. Got to wrap it up there. Hal, very nice to see you. Thanks very much indeed for stopping by and seeing us. Hal Raveche joining us on Innovation.